एक संकोच करने की नेचर होती है ना.
Some people have the nature of hesitating, staying behind, not taking the initiative of coming to the front.
कैसी बनाओ?
Baba said, make your nature like what? Like that of the father, like of our mother and father. So how can you create a nature like that of the mother and father? We can't make our nature like that of the Lokik mother and father.
कोई माँ बाप बहुत गुणवान होते हैं, बच्चे की नेचर कुछ और होती है.
Sometimes parents are very virtuous and the children are totally opposite. And sometimes the parents are not so good and yet the child is very virtuous.
आप लोगों ने उनका बहुत मिसाल देखे होंगे, हमने भी देखे हैं. वास्ट डिफरेंट होता है माँ बाप और बच्चे के.
You must have seen many examples like that. I've seen them definitely, where there's a lot of difference between the parents and the child. And here, Baba is telling us to become like the mother and father. In the Lokik life, it's probably impossible for the children to be like the parents. Even in the golden age, the children of Lakshmi and Narayan will not have the same nature as that of Lakshmi and Narayan. But here Baba is asking us to become like the mother and father. Even if we come into the golden age and kingdom, there will be a difference in the nature. This wasn't the topic that Dadi was going to take up, but it's just come up, and so it's good that we clarify this. Baba's really been emphasizing the nature a lot. For us to have that spirituality in our nature. Baba said not just being knowledgeful, but to have the power of being knowledgeful. Should have everything in a very natural way, so that it's not taking any effort. So the spirituality should also become natural in our nature. Even the godly love that we receive from the mother and father should become our nature. There, we take birth to our Lokik parents because of our past karma. No matter how well they sustain us, my nature will be that according to my karma. Even if the child grows old, his nature is according to his actions, and his actions is according to his nature. In the golden age, or coming down from the golden age, we didn't have that nature, but it just became that automatically according to the actions we performed. This morning, Baba is saying that every second of the confluence age is equivalent to a year of the rest of the cycle. So just compare the gap of the comparison, 1 second equivalent to 1 year. So it's so much. So within 1 second, what is it that we need to change? Liberation in life is remembered in just a second, and everything is also just a matter of a second. In the early days, Baba used to say, child, Jivan Mukti is received in just a second.
हर एक देखिए
When the arrow of knowledge first strikes you, that's also just a
बाबा
second.
का बनना है सेकंड में पक्का हो जाता है मुझे बाबा का बनना है। जैसे एक मरा ना कहाँ से तो सेकंड में मरता है।
To belong to the Father, that's also just a matter of a second. To die, when the soul becomes separate from the body, that's also a question of just a second. When you take a decision, that's also just a second.
मुक्त हो जाऊं, बंध से मुक्त हो जाऊं।
The decision to become free and liberated in life from having bondage in life, that's also just a second.
अभी नेचर के साथ विचार की बात करते हैं। हमारी गुलजार दादी और हमारी बड़ी गहरी रूह आने चली है।
Gulzar Dadi and Dadi Janki were talking about this, having a deep conversation. So now also I'm not giving class, but just having a chit chat with you. So together with nature, I'm also wanting to clarify thoughts. The nature is also according to your thoughts and ideas.
राइट नहीं तो मैं शांति से धीरे धीरे और बोलूँ डॉक्टर अच्छा है डॉक्टर आ गया। क्यों नेचर का आधार हमारे विचारों पर है।
The nature is dependent on my ideas. We'll first talk about someone's ideas and then of their nature. Ideas, thoughts. There's a difference in their ideas, and so my ideas are different from your ideas, and so the nature also is different.
अभी नेचर को बाबा ने कहा है तुम्हारी बाप जैसी हो, तो ये भी विचार करते बाबा ने कहा ना हार बना के पहनो। मैं परसों से लेकर जब से बाबा की बोली
Since Daddy heard Baba's Murli, Daddy's been thinking of the rosary or the garland that Baba spoke about, and I'm sure all of you also prepared it and paid attention to many things.
क्यों बाबा के गले में हार विजयी बन करके बाबा के गले का हार पीछे बनेंगे।
I have to first of all become victorious and become a garland around Baba's neck, but before that I have to have the garland of self-respect around myself, and so for that I need to pay attention to my nature.
नेचर अच्छी बाबा सम्मान उसमें कुछ गुण विशेषता जो बाबा की है
My nature should be equal to that, like that of the mother and father, like Baba, but then for that I need to copy him in some of the virtues and specialities. So I will not develop my own nature and virtues like that, but I will copy Baba in his nature and virtues. Generally, you're not allowed to copy, but I have to copy Baba exactly. Baba's giving us full freedom to copy him 100%.
तो बाप जैसी नेचर माना
What does it mean to have a nature like that of the Father? Just keep Brahma Baba in front of you. We've learned many things just by looking at how it's done, and so seeing Brahma Baba in front of you, you see. Sometimes if someone sits and teaches you, then it's a question of learning with your head, but when you want to really learn something, you learn it with your heart. Sometimes your head isn't well, and so even if someone's trying to teach you something, you won't be able to learn it, and you'll say, well, I'm not in the right mood today to learn something. But if you have that real interest to learn, then you'll learn it from your heart, and you'll make time for learning it. If you don't want to learn, then you'll make excuses saying, well, it's not my part, or there'll be other thoughts interfering in between. Your own ideas, your own thoughts, this actually prevents you from being able to learn something. But then to be able to change your ideas, because your behavior, your words, all of this is also dependent on your ideas.
मुझे जाना ही है, विचार किया ना, आप लोग विचार किया तो आए ना.
It's because I decided that I'm going to come here, and so I came here. You also decided that you're going to come here, and so you came here. You thought about it, and you said, yes, you'll come here. But without having thought about it, you wouldn't have reached here.
देखने से अच्छा सीख सकते हैं.
So many times you find that you're able to learn very well by just seeing something, even by having that deep feeling, that deep love. When there is that deep love, you're able to learn easily.
अंदर की जो भावना है ना, वो भी श्रेष्ठ हो.
So internally, the deep feelings of love should also be elevated.
तो स्वमान में खड़े होने के लिए स्व पर काम करना है.
In order to be able to maintain my self-respect, I have to work on myself.
अच्छी अच्छी विधि भी सिखाता है. तो खुद अपने बाबा अपने भावना से भी हमको प्रेरता है.
Baba teaches us many different methods, but he also has that deep love, that deep bhavna for us that say, continue to do it like this, continue to do it like this, that I will make you do it. All you have to do is just do it right now. This is the time to do it.
सारी तैयारी बाबा करके सिर्फ टेंशन से फ्री हो जाए.
Baba makes all preparations for us and then says, just become free from tension and pay attention to the Father.
आज मैंने किसी को कहा ये प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है. उसने कहा, मैंने कहा प्रैक्टिस कहेंगे ना तो बहुत टाइम लगेगा, लंबा हो जाएगा.
Daddy was sitting with someone and they said that is a question of practice, and Daddy said if you think about practice it will take a long time because you need the practice over a long period of time.
बाबा कहता है उस तरह से करो तो
But just continue to do it as Baba is telling you. Just continue to do that and you'll have confidence in yourself and you'll be successful.
भावना से किया ना.
When you do it with that deep feeling of love.
भावना का फल मिलता है. तो नेचर हमारी भावना वाली.
You definitely receive the fruit of that deep love and faith, and so my nature should be filled with that bhavana also.
तो पहले नेचर अच्छी भावना वाली हो, अपने लिए सी भावना वाली हो नेचर.
My nature should be such that I have that deep faith in it.
मेरे कल्याण के लिए है, बहुत कल्याण के लिए, वो भी मेरी भावना हो.
I should also have the deep faith that whatever Baba is telling me is for my benefit, that I'll do it because it's beneficial for
ये
me.
जो ये संगठन है ना, उसमें भावना है.
Even the gathering, that also has that deep love, that deep faith with one another, for one another.
संगठन में भावना है. कल रिक भाई जिस संगठन में आप बैठा था,
Yesterday, Brother Rick was sitting in a gathering with about 20-25 brothers. They're the senior brothers who've been in Gyan for nearly 40-45 years. And so Dad is asking how, if you really enjoyed it. Did you have that feeling of being really special ones? There was only Doug and
लाटरी मिल गई.
Brother Rick who had been invited for this gathering, the special meeting. And Dad is saying to Doug also this afternoon that it's not an ordinary thing for you to be in such a gathering. Doug was saying how when Dadi Nirmala Shanta came then to take leave from Dadi Janki, there was a very beautiful scene, and just the love that there was between both the Dadis, that really made him melt so much.
परिवार से प्यार.
So to have that love for one another, to have that godly love for one another in the family.
वो जब इमर्ज होता है ना, कईयों के दिलों पर काम करता है.
When the love that Baba has given you emerges, then that really works in the hearts of others also. It melts those people's hearts.
बनाने वाली बात है यहाँ नहीं है.
So understand that here it's not a question of using your head or being intellectual in that sense. Our university is completely different.
सारी उम्र में पेंसिल पेन यूज नहीं किया है. एक पेंसिल भी बेचारी.
Throughout my whole life, I have only used one pencil, but otherwise I've not sat with a notebook and pen.
एक छोटी सी डायरी रखी थी.
Daddy used to keep one very small diary in which she would note down 1 or 2 points.
पूछूंगा भाई बहन मेरे
not even words, but just a few points. Not even points, but just a few words. And many times people would ask her, but you must have some personal things, and that they would say, no, I don't need to keep all of these things.
भावना में, विचार में, भावना में मुझे पापा जैसी नेचर बनानी है.
So I have to make my nature like that of Baba in my thoughts, in my nature,
बाबा कहेगा
in my
परम धाम में तो सदा मैं भी रहता हूँ. यहाँ बैठे हुए बच्चे मेरे सामने आकर के अगर शांति धाम में पास आने के पहले मेरे जैसे बन जाए.
Baba says that before you come to the land of peace, if you become like me, then he will be very proud of you also.
घर में आए
Then he is very proud that you've been through the whole cycle, but even for a little while, at least you've become the same as he is.
निराकार. और उसकी निराकार की इच्छा है तो मेरे जैसे बने, पर तो मैंने मेरे पे देखा है निरंकारी बाबा की इच्छा.
Baba's got the desire for us not just to be bodiless, but then the incorporeal one has the desire that we become bodiless like him, and this corporeal one has the desire that we become egoless like him. Both of them are combined, and so both of them have similar desires for us.
बाबा निकलता है.
And even when the two are together, we don't speak of them as Bap Dada, but just
मैंने कहा हमारे मुंह से बाबा ही निकलता है.
we can't differentiate, and for us, Baba is Bap Dada together is just Baba. We never even think of the two as separate.
बच्चे थे तो बाबा, जवान हुए तो बाबा, बूढ़े हुए तो बाबा.
When we were children, we used to say his Baba. When we were in our middle period, even then it was just Baba for us, and now even in our old age, we just say Baba. This morning, I was telling Dadi that, Dadi, you have a very big heart, and Dadi says, well, it's him, not me. It's because of him, because nothing is mine. So one was pointing up to him and then saying, yes, everything's going to be okay. Who's doing all the work? The one up above.
जब मुरली पूरी होती है हमारी दादी की चिट है, थोड़ी भी कुछ कहेंगे ना दादी.
Straight after the Murli, when Dadi Janki and Dadi Ji meet on the stage, before Dadi Janki takes class, then at that time also, Dadi, you tell something to Dadi and she just point upwards, it's him and not me. So what will remain at the end? Nothing but just this nature, that is just Baba who's doing everything.
फिर सब अच्छा.
Then you'll find that yes, everything will work out fine, everything is good.
ये नेचर अभी मधुबन से सबकी बन जाए.
If this was to become your nature from Madhuban when you go back, a special gift that all of you take from Baba before going back, then that would be a wonderful gift. When you receive a gift, you have deep love for that, especially when it's from someone that you love.
वाला है वो जैसे वैसे काम चलो गिफ्ट नहीं करता है.
A person you love, you would never receive, or the person who loves you, they would never give you a gift that's ordinary, but they would give you a gift which you'd be able to really give so much regard to, so much value to, that you'd be able to merge in your heart.
तो गिफ्ट क्या मिली है?
So what's the gift that you've received?
जब कहते हैं निराकारी.
To be incorporeal, and then you're able to go inside.
बैठे हैं शरीर में है पर पता है.
You're sitting in the body, but you know that yes,
निराकारी स्थिति में स्थित रहने के लिए आदती बनने के लिए बैठे हैं.
you're sitting in the body to be able to have that habit of maintaining the incorporeal stage.
विचार, नेचर, आदत.
But then now we come to the next subject, which is habit.
फिर है ऐसे. आदत भी ऐसी होती है
Habits are also such
नहीं है.
that you're not able to let go of them because they become so strong.
नेचुरल हो गई, मैं क्या करूं.
They become so natural, you can't change them.
आदत पर जाए तो बाबा साकार बड़ी आदत डालो.
This is why in the Sakar Murlis, Baba always says, child, instill this habit, especially of remembrance.
जैसे हम लोगों ने करा
in Karachi for so many years.
मूव में रहे थे।
We were in that state of movie of not speaking hardly anything.
बाबा कहता था जरा सा भी ये माताओं कन्याओं का आवाज बाहर जाएगा तो आकर के जंप लगा कर लेके जाएंगे।
Especially in the days of the partition, and Baba used to say if the people outside would hear the voice or the sound of the mothers and the Kumaris, then they will cross the walls. Even though there were very high walls, they would jump over the walls and come and take you. So that's why Baba had said you have to remain in this state of movie.
आवाज बाहर नहीं जाना चाहिए।
Your sound should not reach outside. So that's why they used to be very subtle in
बहुत फायदा हुआ था।
their communication, very softly. And this,
जितना भी सेवा
they benefited a lot through this.
आवाज में आने से एनर्जी ज्यादा खर्च होती है।
By coming into sound, you spend a lot of energy, use a lot of energy.
अंदर की शरीर की भी मनसा की भी जितना आवाज में आएंगे।
When you come into sound, you use a lot of energy of the mind and the body. There's 3 types of sounds.
एक है लौकिक कारोबार का आवाज।
Sound meaning communication, whatever. When it's logic activity, logic business,
पड़ता है उसके विचार अनुसार चलना पड़ता है।
you have to do everything according to the interaction with the other person, and you have to try and make up with that person. You have to explain very clearly to that person.
ज्ञान समझाने का आवाज वो भी भाषण करने में मजा नहीं है, उसमें एनर्जी खर्च होती है थोड़ी।
The second is of giving lectures. Sometimes you speak for half an hour, 1 hour, and then you think that you got a headache by speaking too much, even though you've just been speaking knowledge. And the third is you're speaking, but it's like you're speaking in the form of a lullaby, like a mother singing to the child. And so that uses very little energy.
कोई कहानी सुनाई, थोड़ा अच्छे बात सुनाई, अच्छा गीत गाया, अच्छा ये किया।
You speak sweetly to someone, you give happiness and peace to another person. Your body also feels very comfortable for not speaking so loudly. You say, yes, everything's going to be fine.
बनती है, दुआ मिलती है।
And by speaking in this way, you actually create energy and you receive blessings.
उसे ये नहीं लगेगा तो हमने बहुत कुछ बोला है।
In that way of speaking, you won't feel that you've spoken a lot, but whatever was necessary, whatever was useful, you've only spoken that much.
ये भी नेचर बन जाए।
This should also become my nature.
और वहाँ हमारा ऐसे ये भी आदत पड़ गई। जरूरी बात तो बोर्ड पर लिखी हुई होती थी।
In those days, whatever was essential, we would have it written up on a board. Whatever directions were to be given, if we needed to explain something to someone or give a message, then we would just write it. We wouldn't come into words so much.
तो ये भी आदत पड़ गई।
That was also a habit that we developed in those days.
और थोड़ा ये भी बड़ा शौक उठा, बहुत जैसे बाबा ऐसे बैठा है, हम भी ऐसे बैठे, विचार सदन विष्णु की तरह से बैठे।
So our way of sitting should be like that of how Baba was sitting, either in the form of being the tapasvi image, or like Vishnu lying in the ocean, or being completely detached from everything.
विचार, भावना, पहले अंदर भावना है, शुभ भावना, अपने लिए शुभ भावना है।
First of all, there are pure wishes, pure feelings for the self.
प्रैक्टिकली करेंगे।
Then you have that faith that whatever Baba says, I will do that practically.
ये बात है, एक जो अच्छी बात हम करते हैं ना,
At the confluence age, whenever you do even one thing that's very good, when you actually do it practically, then you find everything becomes easy. But when you think about it, then you find it becomes difficult. When you hear something, you think, okay, I'm going to think about it. When you think about it, you feel it's a bit difficult. But then when you actually start doing it, you find that, yes, it's wonderful. I've actually done it. And you feel very happy with yourself. and then it becomes a nature, a habit.
सुनने समय भावना आई
At the time of listening, there was this deep feeling of love that Baba has spoken with, that deep faith, that deep feeling, and so I want to do that
इसे वो
also.
भूलता नहीं है
And then you don't forget that from
और काम
inside.
करते हुए भी बाबा का बोल भूलता नहीं है
Whilst doing everything else, you don't forget Baba's words.
किसी घड़ी भूला ही नहीं है सोते भी याद है हर सुबह
I haven't forgotten what Baba has said from the time that he has said it about actually having the garland of self-respect around yourself, around your neck. So how am I going to have that? So my self-respect is connected with my awareness.
बात अभी की भी वेस्ट बात
If I have any of the things of the past, any wasteful things in my awareness, in my thoughts,
तो सोमान में
then I won't be able to stay in my stage of self-respect.
किसकी नेचर अनुसार ये भी हमारी थोड़ा सर्वजार हुई जिसको मैं चिट चैट भी नहीं कहती हूँ
So this is not even chit chat but a heart to heart conversation. And when I was sitting with Dadi, then I was thinking that remembrance should also become so natural. And Baba said, internally remain incorporeal and externally in your relationship and interaction with everyone remain egoless.
क्यों टाइम लगा है
And we came up with the reason of why it's taken so long, why it's difficult to maintain this stage throughout the day.
अपनी नेचर पुरानी संस्कार अनुसार उसको समझ करके बदलने का प्रयत्न नहीं किया है
It's because you haven't really made that effort to try and understand your nature and then to change that. But then your nature is according to your sanskars, and sanskars are of the past.
जन्मों का नहीं है
They may not be of the
साधक में भी हर एक
many parts births.
बना लिया
Through the effort made at the confluence age, each one has created their own nature. And it's like they've put a limit to whatever kind of dharana they want to do.
सुनना धारण करना उतना ही करना
It's like they have limited themselves to thinking that this is how much I have to inculcate, this is how much knowledge I have to understand, this is how much I have to do. And so it's not bad, but it's not so elevated either, because you've just set yourself a limit and you're not going to go beyond that, that this is your nature and this is how far you will go. It's not a bad nature, it's not a nature that will cause worry, but it's not elevated.
वो कोई अपनी आदत अपने नेचर के बस अनुसार ही अच्छी बहन ने बोला मैं बहुत ख्याल करती हूँ मैं कर सकती हूँ मैं भी समझ रही थी कर सकती हूँ
Yesterday, a very good sister who's making very good effort was speaking to Dadi and saying that, well, I do feel that I can do it. It's possible for me to do it, but there isn't that deep desire, there isn't that intensity in actually making that effort, that this is the only thing that I want to do. There isn't that intensity in the desire for making that kind of effort. So there isn't that intensity in the nature also. In your thoughts, there isn't that intensity.
तीव्र संकल्प पुरुषार्थ का नहीं है
In your thoughts, in your effort, there isn't that intensity to really do that, and that determination that, yes, I'm going to do this.
बिल्कुल है आवश्यक है
It's very simple, it's very necessary.
हम करते हैं तो ये भी एक ड्रामा प्लान अनुसार जो सारे कल्प में हम इस बंधन में नहीं है
Throughout the whole cycle, we're not in this bondage, but now at the confluence age, whatever I do, others will see me and do the same.
वो नहीं पर
I don't need to tell anyone anything, but they'll do that automatically by themselves when they see me doing something. And so I would receive the incognito help of that also, because I do it firstly for my own self and I achieve success in that. There's a lot of happiness experienced, and there is confidence in the self that, yes, I'll definitely stabilize my intellect in this way. No matter how much fluctuation there is, I'm not going to allow myself to fluctuate. Even if storms come, I'm going to consider them to be gifts, and so you prepare yourself in this way internally.
पहले जो होता था अब नहीं होगा
that whatever used to happen before, I'm not going to do the same now because I'm not the same person anymore.
अब ये विचार भावना से नेचर ये बनाई.
So with these thoughts, you've made your nature that of making that kind of effort.
याद में बैठेंगे ना तो बाबा देखेगा ना इसका तो बाबा ऐसे ही अंदर याद में ये खींच रहा है.
Then when you sit in remembrance with that awareness, then you'll feel that Baba is pulling you.
पहले जो साधारण याद थी या अधूरी याद थी, ऐसे ही बैठते थे, परंतु ठीक है.
Before I used to be sitting in remembrance, but that was like incomplete remembrance, and that was like, well, rather than not sitting at all, let me just sit there, but you're not really sitting with any kind of awareness. But now with this determination, you feel, yes, I'm going to be sitting in Baba's remembrance with that stage of being equal, and then you create that kind of nature in remembrance to be having that stage of equality to the Father.
क्या होगा?
And what will happen then?
क्या होगा? ये सारा जो बाबा ने कहा ना,
Everything that Baba spoke of,
लहर फैलेगी.
but there'll be a whole wave that spreads, that whatever you're doing, others will be inspired to do that also.
दिलों में पुरुषार्थ में थोड़ा भारीपन था ना,
Previously, there was heaviness in everyone's hearts in terms of making effort.
तो थे ना,
They used to be disheartened, but that stage is now finished.
वो समय पूरा हो गया. जैसे हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी का अभी आगे चल करके अभी तो थोड़े समय में जो होना है सो अभी होगा, हमारे ऊपर आधार है.
Everything is depending on me, and whatever has to happen in a short time now. So the moments have come for coming into the rosary of victory. And previously my number may have been at the back towards the end of the rosary, but now I've come near the front.
बेचारे को समझा.
So now I've understood the signal that Baba has given. And now I know that I can move along according to Baba's signals. I can catch Baba's things, whatever he's saying.
समय अनुसार जो राइट बात होंगी, बुद्धि कहाँ इधर उधर अटकी लटकी चटकी हुई नहीं होगी.
If my intellect is not trapped anywhere, it's not stuck anywhere, if it's not
कोई बात में नहीं होगी,
engaged in anything else, then I'll be able to just be with Baba.
वो ऐसे ही चाहिए,
Because these are the type of children that Baba wants.
ऐसे ही बच्चे चाहिए जो बाबा से दृष्टि लेते ही
As soon as they take drishti from Baba, they're able to go beyond.
बाबा के सामने
And then,
दृष्टि पूरी हो गई चले जाए, नहीं, दृष्टि में आ गई.
not that as soon as Baba stops giving drishti, you forget that,
से अनुसार चल रहे हैं.
but you actually come in Baba's vision.
जैसी दृष्टि बाबा की याद से बड़ी है, उसी अनुसार चल रहे हैं.
They're moving along according to Baba's drishti that they have upon themselves. So that is asking if you've understood that, like whatever drishti Baba has had upon those souls from the beginning, that's how you're walking along.
जैसी दृष्टि रखी
Like Baba's had that elevated vision on you from the beginning, and so you've continued to move along according to that. Baba's vision for me has never changed, but I have never done anything that has made him change my vision also. So Daddy wants to know if you are such a person who's constantly moving along according to the vision that Baba has had for you from the beginning. I've never done anything to make Baba's vision change for me, but then I constantly move along according to Baba's vision on me.
भले और कौन सी दृष्टि देवे,
Baba's giving others the same kind of drishti, but I've had a big heart in that. But also Baba has never changed his vision for me also. So who are the ones who are able to move along according to that vision?
दृष्टि में ऐसे बैठ जा.
The deep desire, the deep faith, the deep love inside is that yes, everyone should be able to sit in Baba's drishti in that way. But you can only sit in Baba's drishti when you make Baba sit in your drishti first.
एक से दृष्टि नहीं होती है, लेन देन होती है ना.
Drishti is not one way, it's a two-way thing. And so first I have to sit Baba in my drishti, then Baba will be in I will be in Baba's drishti.